Hello everyone, welcome to William and the Magic Box. Today on our show, we are going to have Remark. Remark is from Florida in the USA, but he lives in England. So let's see what Remark has to say. Enjoy the interview. Now, hello Remark, how are you?
Good, good. Hi there. How's it going, William?
I'm very well. Thank you so much. Thanks for taking the time on Saturday to the interview with me. Thank you very much.
No problem. Good way to spend the afternoon.
Amazing. Okay, Remark. So just before we start the game, just tell me where you're from.
Well, I'm originally from Orlando, Florida, so I'm an American, but I'm actually based in Rochester, down in Kent, about 40-minute train ride from central London. So,
amazing! And how long have you been living in England for?
Yeah, it's been about 10 years now, actually. So I would consider myself to be an adopted Brit at this point. So yeah.
It's funny because 4 years, actually, it's 2016, I was working for Disney Cruise Line in Orlando, in Port Canaveral.
Yep. That's my old stomping ground back in the day. So very familiar with that whole area. Yeah.
Amazing. And I spent there, like, it was a short contract, it was 4 months, 3 months and a half, 4 months. And I'm originally from Brazil. It reminds me the weather was exactly the same when I come from Brazil. I was like, oh my God, I feel like on my state right now in Brazil.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, lots of Brazilians come visit to go on vacation in Florida as well. So yeah.
Yes, I was about to say that. Actually, when I was working for Disney, I find out that after the Americans, the second nationality who consume Disney the most, they are Brazilian. I was so impressed. I was impressed in a way, but you know what I mean? But I said, okay, of course, you know what I mean? So many Brazilian people living in Florida is like, we are everywhere anyway. But the community there is big. And why the UK? Why did you change?
Why did I move to the UK? That was because of my job. So I got promoted back in 2011 to take on a new role here. And that moved me to London. So yeah, and then just thought I wouldn't want to leave after that. And I've always enjoyed the UK history. The music is really where I've got a huge passion for. The history is very intriguing. And and I've always enjoyed the people as well. So.
And what do you do for a living, Remark?
I work for a small California fruit company that makes iPhones. So that is what I do, working for Apple, and do some really cool technology work. That's my job.
I see. And I believe you're a DJ as well.
I'm a DJ as well. That's actually going to date me way back. I've been buying records since I was probably about 7 years old, and have been DJing since I was a teenager. And yeah, so it's very much still my life. Music. It's the center of gravity for me.
That's why I can see a lot of records there back there.
Exactly. I know. Sometimes these were rare one day, but now they've actually become popular again. A lot of people got back into vinyl, so it's good to see.
Absolutely. They are getting back now too. It's very popular right now as well. You know? I think the old stuff it's kind of getting back to, you know what I mean, like sending letters as well. You know, the things are getting back somehow, and it's people that are getting into it. I think it's a beautiful thing. I think I'm glad to know that as well, because I'm very primitive in a way. When I see those, you know, things coming back, it's like, oh my God, I'm so glad. Actually, yesterday I bought ABBA. Did you see about ABBA coming back again?
Yeah,
I was like,
I know. It's great. It's good. We have a good, it's good to feel those things. I think they remind us of different times, and I think it also puts more kind of, it feels more organic to do some of those things, and you know, it's nice. It's really good.
Totally. Okay, Remark. So welcome to William and the Magic Box. Okay, full of random questions. Are you ready to go on a beautiful journey through your memories in life, your point of views? Yes?
Yes, I am. Let's go.
Great. I'm just going to play a song now just for us to dance a little bit before the first question, okay? And if there is a question you don't have an answer for, you don't want to answer, always can change another one, okay? It's all very friendly and chilled, right?
Sounds good.
Let's do it. Okay, Remark, ready for the first question?
I am.
Let's do it. The first question is, what's your parents did or do that comforts you the most?
Well, Probably when I go home to Florida to visit them, my mom has some really great meals that she's always made that remind me of my childhood. She does a very incredible chicken parmesan Italian dish. And although we're not Italian, I probably would think a lot of Italians would be impressed with what she does. So that's always a really great thing. That comforts me. It reminds me of my childhood, but also it's really great comfort food as well. So I think that's probably the thing that she does the most. And my dad, since it's both of them, also does an incredible steak. He knows how to grill an awesome steak. So I think it's the food, really. That's a good comfort.
And do you have siblings as well?
I do. I've got one sister, yes, and she lives near them. So yeah, so I get to go back and see the whole family, which is great.
Very good. And did you have their support when you decided to move to the UK?
Yeah, it was tough. My mom, I think, was not as happy at first. I was living in Atlanta, which is, you know, not too far from Florida, but still far enough to not visit easily. And I think that when I moved to the UK, I told my mom, I'm like, I'm going to see you probably just the same. It's just a further distance. And she was like, oh, you're so far. So anyway, they were supportive, though, in the end. They knew this was my passion, my job, and they were really proud of that big step. And, you know, it's a big life-changing event to move to another country. You know what that's like. So culturally, you have to shift, and I think they were proud that I was willing to take that risk. So it was good.
Very good one. Second question. Let's do Remark. Let's do it. Before the next question, tell me what the best part and the most challenging part of living in Rochester, in your opinion.
The best part is that it has a lot of history. I love history, and I live in for example, a converted brewery that was built in 1750, and so I get very excited about things that have a richness to them with history and stories to tell. So that's probably what I like. There's a cathedral here that's been around. It's one of the oldest cathedrals in the UK, and then there's a castle nearby. So those things are, I think, one of the things that I love about living here. And although most of the UK and England has that, it has a different flavor given that it's a smaller kind of, you know, city or town here than a big city. So that's nice. Challenging is probably not having the ability to get what you want all the time. You know, in London, where we lived for many years, you can, you know, get takeaway at all kinds of hours. You could have the theater to go to, which is great. You can, you know, go and get pretty much anything that you need. It's a world city. Whereas here in Rochester, that's not the case. I mean, it starts to get about 9 o'clock on a weeknight, and restaurants are closed on the high street. So then no many takeaway options either. So that's probably the thing that I've found challenging during living here this past few years.
Very good.
Yeah.
Next question for you is, what are you most passionate about?
Easy music. That is everything to me. And not only with dance music and DJing and house music, which is really where a lot of my passion lies, and also history with creativity. But I like even more genres than that, you know. I mean, ambient music is one of my favorite genres. I have a deep passion for some acoustic bands and love to go see live shows and concerts. And my husband is a theater and opera set designer, and so he's introduced me to the whole world of opera, which I didn't fully understand until I started dating him. And, you know, that was just incredible. And so it's really amazing. Music absolutely is my passion for sure. And I love hearing about other people who are equally passionate about music, especially when it's genres I'm not necessarily into or too keen on. One of my best friends, for example, is an avid rock fan, and he really loves the guitar, and he, you know, loves sending me YouTube videos of guitar soloists. And whereas it's not my main appeal, I appreciate and love the fact that he loves it so much. So yeah, music is the answer, and it is.
Very good, and I totally agree. I think music, I cannot live without music either. I think music just puts you in a different world, a different place, you know, even different mood as well. I think even when you are sad and you listen to song, it makes the sad even more nicer in a way. You know what I mean? It's just it's all connected. It's all connected.
Totally.
Next question. Let's do it. Right. Next question for you, Remark. Let's do it. What is your all-time favorite band and why you consider that?
Band. Another great question. So Pet Shop Boys are my favorite band of all time. The amazing, incredible electronic duo from the UK who've been around since 1986 with their very famous song that everybody knows called West End Girls. However, I was a fan when they started, and I am a mega fan now. And a lot of folks, particularly Americans, think that the Pet Shop Boys died off in the 1980s, like many 80s bands. But they are very, very still productive and making lots of great music. And I could go on and on. In fact, half the records you see behind me are Pet Shop Boys records and limited edition collector items. And I've seen them many times all over the world. I have met them before. I have, pictures of them with me. I've got, And so not only is my music is my passion, but Pet Shop Boys are the the gods in my music universe. So anyway, that's my favorite band. And I could spend, we could have a whole separate hour where I could talk about their influence on my life. But that's the answer. And I absolutely love them and still get motivated and moved by their music all the time.
Top 3 favorite song of them. Top 3 in your lists.
Yes.
Ever.
So my favorite song would be "It Couldn't Happen Here," which was a song off of their album called "Actually" in 1987, and it's a very mellow song. It's not a dance track that people know or pop even, but it was about when the kind of AIDS crisis started to become an issue in the UK in the 80s, and "It Couldn't Happen Here." The title is in reference to how it was believed in the gay community that it couldn't happen here in the UK. So really powerful track. Second track is King's Cross, which is also on the same album, by the way. Another mellow song. And I remember being just mesmerized by the idea of King's Cross, which in the 80s was actually a really rundown area in London. Now, if you go, it's completely different and, quite a happening spot. And when I first moved to the UK in 2011, I had to go to King's Cross to have that moment. And I remember putting on the song and walking up to the tube station almost like, oh, I'm here in King's Cross. This is the song since my childhood that I remember that was so, powerful to me. Anyway, that's my top 2. And then my third track or favorite song is a song called Integral, which is off of their album called Fundamental, released in 2006. And Integral is another interesting track that was written about the UK at the time when they were trying to pass national ID cards. And the Pet Shop Boys were very against the UK's pushing of this agenda because it was basically stripping away your privacy and your rights in some ways. And, everyone has to have these cards. And basically, you're, as long as you're not doing anything wrong, you're fine. But if you do something wrong, everybody has a card and a number to be tracked. So it was almost something that we are seeing now play out in other parts of the world, or even in our current reality of privacy and being able to be found and tracked and location and all these things. But that was different in 2006. It's interesting to see how it's played out. But it's a very powerful song. Absolutely love it. Fantastic live, and definitely a strong, powerful dance track. So those are my top 3.
Very good. Wow. Wow. I've learned a lot about Pet Shop Boys right now. Just talk. Next question. Let's do it.
Yep.
Before the next one, you're telling me about you got a partner, yes? And I was looking a little bit in your profile today just to get a little bit of your vibe. And tell me a little bit about him. So how long you guys been together? And what's the most memorable lesson you learned from him so far?
That's a wonderful question. So we met in 2015, and our relationship continued to kind of, blossom and develop. And in 2017, he proposed to me. Very emotional moment, obviously. And in 2018, we got married in London, which was incredible. And, when you have somebody like myself with a passion for music and the dance floor, and someone like him who stages operas and productions for a living, the union was quite an experience. So that was an incredible event, our wedding, as most weddings, are or should be, at least for the couple, incredible. But it was particularly fantastic. We got married inside of Wilton's Music Hall in London, which has a history. In fact, fun fact for my music fans out there, it was where Frankie Goes to Hollywood filmed their original version of Relax, which was banned after it was filmed because it was too controversial in the 1980s, as well as Annie Lennox, No More I Love Yous was also filmed there. So lots of music energy in the in the event space. So anyway, fantastic. And what have I learned the most from him?
The most memorable lesson you learned.
Most memorable lesson, yeah. I would probably say, to be kind and giving. I already am kind, I would say, but my husband is kind of on a different level, and he's so giving of his time, of his emotion, of his dedication to his friends and his family, and he's so thoughtful. He's the kind of person that will, you go to a birthday party, and even if it's a birthday party of a friend, he's the one who will tell you, we've got to get a birthday card. So he's just the kind of guy that's very, very thoughtful and kind in that way. I would say that's the most memorable lesson, because it shows up in many ways in our lives and in our friends' lives with what he does.
So many hearts coming out of your head.
Yeah.
And since you've been together, can you speak Portuguese?
No, I can't. I should be able to do that. Yeah, you've done your research if you know he's half Portuguese. My husband already speaks like 5 languages because he has to for his job to a degree, works a lot in Europe, but just comes from a background of being creative and loves learning things. So he's very well versed in languages. And I've thought about taking Portuguese maybe, but the challenge is that I wouldn't really use it regularly. So we have this idea that we might move to Portugal and retire in a nice, beachfront home somewhere when we're old. Then I think that'll be time for Portuguese lessons.
I lived in Portugal before. When I came to Europe, Porto, Portugal was my first home. Yeah. So I was there for 5 years before moving to England. And I must say, when I think about home as well, besides Brazil, Porto comes to my heart always.
So great.
Yeah, I'm so glad. It's funny how life sometimes takes you in a different direction. Portugal was on my plans, and even London was on my plans. Sometimes life takes the direction that makes you feel home, and I'm so glad that I was able to spend 5 years there, because it made me another person for sure.
Right, and Porto is an amazing city. So
yeah, it's beautiful, very romantic. I love Porto. Yeah. Next question for you is: which season of the year you feel more connected with, and why?
I'm going to go with summer. I know this year in the UK, we really didn't get a proper summer, but the summer here reminds me of a few things. First, it's always great to go on Mediterranean holidays. That's what I've enjoyed the past few years living here, especially with my husband. It's always great to go, and that's, whether it's Greece or whether it's Italy, it's always nice to do in those kind of late summer months. Florida, where I grew up, was always hot. It's basically summer almost year round. But when it's summer here and a really warm day, it kind of reminds me of the days of Florida. And I'm like, proper sunshine. And I also like the UK summers because they're not usually overly hot for too long, which is nice. So it's not these unbearable, extreme weather heat waves that we sometimes see in other parts where it's simply too hot. And let's hope it stays this way. But yeah, summer I think is good. The nights are longer. There's a different vibe in the air. So summer is the answer.
Very good. Good one. Is your birthday around summertime as well?
No, my birthday's in February, so winter. Yeah.
Next question. Next question for you, Remark. Let's do it. Good question. What does love mean to you?
Love is a number of things. I think it is caring for others without an expectation to get something in return. I think it is communication and having a willingness to communicate openly. It's vulnerability and letting people into understanding who you are. It is caring for others in an equal way. I mentioned that, but caring for others in an equal manner. I would say those are the things that are top of mind for love.
Do you believe that there are different kinds of love?
Absolutely. I think there's, romantic love. I think there's certainly platonic love between, friends. There's, family love, which takes on a different, flavor. I think you can have love for strangers a love. So I definitely think it has multiple multiple layers and multiple versions.
Good. Totally agree. Next question. Let's do it. Next question. If you were in a circus, which character would you like to be and why?
A trapeze artist. Swinging from the trapeze. If I was in a circus, and that would be because they are the most athletic, probably. They do some incredible stuff. They tend to have really great physical bodies, and they do things that wow the crowd and cause a sense of edginess. So I think that's what I would like to be. That's a good question. But yeah, trapeze artist. I would just want to make sure there's a net below so that if I do something wild, I don't actually fall to the ground to my death. Yeah, that would be the answer. I've always was intrigued how they would catch people and do things. So yeah.
Yeah, when I'm in the circus watching them, my hands get all wet. Like, so I'm so nervous when they started out because I go like, oh my God, how it's gonna, you can see them jumping, holding their hands like, oh my God, it's just like so tense during the show. It's amazing. It's amazing to see them. Beautiful.
Years ago, when I was living in Orlando, I actually dated for a very short period someone who was in Cirque du Soleil, which was the, they had a permanent residency in Orlando, and of course he was very physically fit. He was doing the kind where you kind of jump up and walk up on the walls and fall all the way back onto a trampoline and bounce up and walk up on the walls. And anyway, it was like you say, you watch them and you're like, oh my gosh, you're gonna break your skull. Anyway, it was cool to understand a little bit more about their training though and what they go through. So yeah,
it's hard. It's hard.
I know, yeah.
Oh yeah, physically it's like. Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely. Next question, Mark. Let's do it. Next question for you is, what is the funniest gift have you ever received?
The funniest gift. One of the first thing that comes to mind, which is you'll relate, I think, to a degree. When I first moved to the UK, one of my best friends, Corey, he's hilarious and he's just one of those people who's just naturally funny. He bought me a book to help me navigate the British language, and it was called Bum Bags and Fanny Packs, an American's guide to British English. And so, for those that know language, bum bags in the US bum bags in the UK are what you wear on the side of your hips when you're going out and about, but in the US they're called fanny packs. And fanny in the UK is a bad word. And so it's just the whole book is based on these kind of words that mean one thing and mean something different. And it's divided in half. It's half the book is all these English words that Americans wouldn't know, or British words, and then it's got another half of the dictionary with American phrases or words that Brits may not know. And I was driving one time on a road trip with one of my other good friends, Matt, and we took the book with us. And he's British, and I'm obviously American, and we spent the time reading the book. And he was reading me phrases that were British, and I was trying to guess them and what they meant. I learned some really good phrases then. That's when I learned what Bob's your uncle means. I also learned Old Bill, I think, is Old Bailey, actually. Old Bailey. These kind of phrases that are traditional British words, and that was cool. And then on the flip side, he learned a lot of American phrases as well that I can't think of them that come to mind now. But anyway, that was a really funny gift, and my friend Corey got that for me. And I still reference it even now. So that's a good gift. You remember what it does and how it impacts you. So yeah.
Very good. Very good. There was a moment, like a fun story that you can share, like when you arrived in England, something that you didn't know what meant. Do you have like a fun story that happened? Ever happened to you in England or not? Do you remember like a fun story or something like regarding the language?
The language. Oh, let me think. I don't know, not so much funny, but there were just little things, like just phrases, things, for example, even when you get off of a train, it says, please alight here. Well, alight is not really a word that we would probably use easily in America. So that's something that you'd notice. And there's other things, the lift versus the elevator. And so I got accustomed to using these things quite quickly. Funny though, I can't think of anything that was funny. I'm sure something would come to mind. It was mostly just observing different words that were very regular, but things I would not use, in the US easily. So
cool. Next question. Let's do Remark. Let's do it. For the next question, tell me what you like the most about your job.
The thing I like the most about my job is that we constantly are looking forward. So nothing is static. You're always trying to think of new ways to innovate and think of new ways of doing things. That's huge. Also, my company and in particular my team supports you with trying to pursue your passions in any way. So if you happen to have an interest in a certain skill or a certain kind of path or a certain job, they'll do everything they can to support you and bring that to life. That's one of the reasons I also love my job, is because they firmly believe that you should be working kind of in your passions or in your strengths, or whatever you're really greatly skilled at, in order to bring your best self to work. And Steve Jobs infamously said, you're going to spend a lot of your time in work, and the only way to do great work is to love what you do. And that quote is like emblazoned on my brain on a daily basis. So we really want to show up and do the best work we can. And you can only really do that if you really are passionate about, your mission, your goal, the company itself. And so absolutely love that, and think that's critical to do for any job, by the way. But for mine, it's particularly good to have that.
Very good. Next question is, when was the last time that you cried, and why, if you can share?
Yes, it probably, I definitely know it was in this past year. Well, I'll just go back to the time that it's very clear to me. So in March 2020, when the world started falling apart because of the pandemic, and the news was so intense and so complicated. On top of that, my husband and I were in the process of also buying our first house together, which we had started before the pandemic, and we actually moved on the very first day of the UK lockdown, which was insane. But leading up to that, there were a number of things that were happening. Buying a house is already stressful enough. Having to arrange for moving is already stressful enough. Now you just put that against the backdrop of the world and, people dying everywhere, the pandemic. You don't know how it's going to play out. You don't know what's happening. All of us are experiencing what a lockdown means for the first time. I had actually several days that I probably was in a significantly depressed state of mind and super intense, but I definitely cried for sure during that period. And it was not just once, it was probably over a series of days. Worried about the world, and also about like, what are we doing? Why are we doing this at this time? Worried that we weren't going to have the sale go through. And anyway, but all went well. We moved on lockdown day number one, and even though it's definitely lockdown definitely did not was not good. Here we are, a year and a half more later, and stronger. I think these things make us stronger, right? So if we go through times and tribulations, how do you look back and pull out what you can that makes you better or stronger? There's been definitely times, I think, throughout this year, though, where I've had similar moments, probably like we all have. My husband and I call it the Corona coaster, which basically is what part are you on of the Corona? Are you on a high because it feels good right now, or are you on a really bad low and the world is like all doom and gloom? So, we kind of assess where we're at in some of those lows. I'm sure there was a tear shed or two. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's good to see now the world coming back to normal again. You know what I mean? To kind of, it's good to see. Good vibes. Next question, Remark. Let's do it. As you say now, as you mentioned about since last year, March 2020, when the world went upside down. Yeah. When you look back, what's the positivity side you took out of this journey? There's like something positive that you are grateful for since that happened?
Yes. Well, many things. First off, I was already into meditation, but I really got into meditation during that time. And one of the things you can train yourself to do is to have gratitude, and do gratitude-related meditations. And I was doing them frequently, and it's all kinds of things. It's having gratitude that we have our health, the fact that we've got gratitude that we have roofs over our heads, that we have family and friends that care about us. So those things are all, I think, great. I also think in many ways it allowed people to feel more connected to each other. I think we all felt that during the early phases, and many of those connections have continued for me, which has been powerful. I think it also has made all of us realize what things are worth having stress over versus what things aren't. And I think that really puts things into perspective. It's easy to get angry or frustrated with minor incidents, but when you look in the big picture, I think can appreciate things more. So those are some of the big things that come to mind. And then when we were living in London, we didn't have much space. We didn't have a garden even. We didn't have anything to kind of get out and about. And the pandemic, helped us appreciate outdoors and doing things. And when we moved, one of the things that was appealing was to have more green space, and we have definitely taken advantage of that. So that's another positive that came out of it, and kind of having that as a space to feel, nature and kind of at the outside. So yeah, that's lots of answers in there, but I think it's a big question. So.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Next question for you is, maybe it's gonna be a tough question now. Let's see. Okay. Where do you see yourself living when you retire?
Where there's, I think, 3 places, because this conversation has actually been had. I think the idea potentially is to have a place based here in London. All of my husband's family's based nearby, so that's always good to have them close, and our nieces and nephews, and it's great to see them and watch them grow. My family's obviously back in Florida, so Florida's a great holiday destination, so that's a great place. And then Portugal, as I mentioned, which gives us the sun and is not as far as Florida. So we've jokingly said, wouldn't it be great to have kind of 3 places and then we kind of just rotate, But if I were to have to pick one, probably Portugal would be the place. It's close, it's warm, it's got the great food, and yeah, that's what we've talked about.
And what's your favorite Portuguese dish so far?
Dish, did you say?
Yeah, if you can pick one. Yeah.
Yeah, so you're gonna have to help me with all the Portuguese names, and his mom makes this incredible version. His mom's actually English, but it's his dad who's the Portuguese half. But she makes this incredible, like Portuguese sausage kind of stew with beans and all kinds of things in it, and it's so good. So that's really great. My husband's favorite is a shredded cod dish that is very famous. And you can get on pretty much every street corner. So yeah, the food is fantastic. So
yes, that's what I miss the most about Portugal. Food.
I know. Yeah, it's one of the great things about most cultures is the food. So yeah.
Next question, Remark. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Right. What is your funniest memory of a date that you had?
Funniest memory of a date. Yes, so it wasn't actually a date with kind of a partner or a love interest. I think it was a date with my best friend. And we went out to have, I think we were in our 20s. It was a very nice restaurant, very elegant, a big deal when you're in 20s to go out to a really nice place. And I think we ordered some wine and had some bread on the table and, looking at the menu, and there was candles on the table, and we went to go get some of the bread, which was wrapped neatly in this nice, fancy napkin. And we opened it up and still looking at the menu, and all of a sudden we're smelling smoke on the table. And in fact, what happened is the candle had basically caught the entire napkin on fire, and it started literally like a flame at the table. And we didn't know what to do. Where do you douse it? I think we were beating it with the menus at that point. Quite a scene in a romantic, quiet restaurant. That would be probably a funny moment on a date. Yeah. My Honda girlfriend was with me, and I'll have to confirm if she was the one on the table, but I definitely recall the fire. So
next one, let's do it. For the next question, and what's the most challenging part of your job, in your opinion?
having to be responsible for seeing things to completion with not having control fully over the people that are that need to do the work. I think they call it having control without control. The projects I work on are quite complex. They span multiple time zones. They're lengthy. They require the attention of the teams in different ways. And when you're trying to manage 15 or so teams to deliver on what they need to do, some of them are more interested in doing it. Some of them are not. And because I'm not their direct line manager, I can't actually enforce it in a way that would affect their performance, I think. So getting people together to get stuff done on time is probably the most challenging thing, for sure. My fellow project managers in any company will relate to that.
Next question is, describe yourself in one positive word and one negative word, Ollie.
I saw you ask this question on some other of your videos, and I was trying to think of the words, and now that you've asked me. So positive word, I would say creative. I think that creativity shows up in many ways in my life, not just with music, but through other kind of art forms. I fully believe that creativity is a way to navigate negativity. In fact, I think Tori Amos, who is a famous musician who I absolutely worship and love, says the only way to combat destruction is with creation. And I really find that to be empowering and inspirational when it comes to living. So creativity would be a positive word. The negative would be inflexible. I'm someone who tends to like things in a certain way, and even if you take something as simple as a schedule on my day or even over a week, if something happens, if I've got my schedule planned and something happens and there's a need to change it, that does not make me happy. My fellow planners out there in the world will recognize that, but it can be a problem. I mean, my husband is a good example of someone who has to navigate that. He likes to do things a little more on the fly. So if it's a Wednesday and we've had a discussion and we're going to make dinner and we've got a movie planned, and then he calls me and says, "Hey, different plans tonight. Let's go out to a restaurant. We're going to meet, some friends." I have to completely change my headspace to deal with that. Anyway, I'm using the word inflexible. I'm actually not that much of a jerk about it, but he knows now kind of how to enter into that conversation to make sure that I don't freak out. But that's probably my biggest negativity. So inflexible.
Work in progress.
Yeah, work in progress, for sure. I'm open to feedback.
Okay, Remark, I have three questions left for you, okay?
Great.
Let's do it.
Sure.
Right, next question for you is, what motivates you the most in life?
Creating. I know I mentioned creativity a moment ago, but creating something, I think, is what motivates me. It's funny you mentioned ABBA earlier. For those who didn't watch ABBA, they should go watch the ABBA Voyage, release that was yesterday or 2 days ago. And there was an interview conducted with, the two men. Bjorn answered one of the questions, and she asked, the interviewer said, does this ever get tiring? Do you're now in your 70s, ABBA. Why now? Why are you coming back? Isn't it exhausting? Aren't you just ready to, say? And I think the question that was answered, he said, no, creation and writing music is energizing. It gives us energy. And I was like, yes, that is the answer. Finding ways to create, and again, it's not just music, but really looking on ways to make something, that's energizing to me and motivating, to answer the question specifically. So creation, yeah.
I love his answer, actually. I love his answer as well. My God, it's amazing, isn't it?
I know.
It says everything about being creative. And absolutely love it.
Love that.
Ooh, 2 questions left. Let's do it. Okay, Remark. Next question for you is, tell me something that you always want to do, but you're scared of.
Skydiving. I'm not somebody who likes to do anything that involves a lot of thrills or adrenaline. My friends will tell you that, you know, roller coasters are even a no for me. And but skydiving is very appealing. Every time I see people do skydiving, it's very exciting to watch. There's always these incredible pictures. There's always a story that goes with it. Of course there would be. And, you know, people always talk about it being one of the best and most exciting times or things they could do. So I really love the idea of having such a powerful memory and experience that, you know, not many people get to partake in. But I could not make myself do it because of the adrenaline. I just know it. I see these videos where people, you know, they cower at the last minute before they get pushed out out the plane. And at that point, you've spent so much money, you've done all the stuff, you've prepped, and, you know, you get it right up there. That would totally be me. So anyway, skydiving probably is the answer.
I'm not ready yet either. I'm not ready. I think about as well. Sometimes I go like, oh my God, imagine if I get there and if I want to say, okay, I want to say no now, and maybe it's too late, but yeah, I'm not ready yet. That's for sure. Yeah. Remark, ready for the last one?
Yep.
Last question for you. Let's do it. Right, before the last question, I'd like to ask you, through these 10 years you've been in England, you said, through these 10 years, what is there is a difference of remark of you since this 10 years ago? Can you see a different thing that took out, something that you've learned, or something that you, when you look, like this 10 years you've been here, something that comes to your heart or, you know, to your mind?
Yeah, absolutely. I guess the biggest thing that happened when I first moved to the UK, I just ended a pretty lengthy relationship in the States, and then I actually dated someone for a short period when I came to move. And when I moved, I still was in that relationship, that short-term relationship, and it was difficult and challenging trying to do a long-distance relationship. I also, you know, new country, trying to build new friends. He was very jealous at the time, and so it was hard for me to go out and make, you know, connections with people. And so I started getting down on myself, I would say, and, you know, kind of feeling lonely to a degree, but also physically I'd stopped kind of eating right, and I wasn't as into fitness as much anymore. And so anyway, it kind of came to a head in 2013 when I turned 40 at the time and decided that I needed to make some big changes. And so, you know, we kind of ended the relationship. I made some changes in my lifestyle and really started kind of building a life here, I think. And that's when I realized that this was going to be, you know, home. So I think looking back now, you know, you go through those types of moments that feel really tough and difficult or challenging, or you look back and you don't think you felt your best, and then you come out of that and, you know, you have to see what you've changed and how you grew. And so, you know, I stayed here and ultimately now found the man of my dreams, and, you know, we got married and we have a life now, and all those things. I think, you know, you make these choices. It wouldn't have happened if I didn't kind of go through, I think, that time where it was really difficult. And then also, as we know, coming out of negative relationships, I think it's important to look at what didn't work and why, and taking those things and applying them, you know. So earlier with your question around love, this is why I think communication came to mind. You really have to, you know, talk about those things with someone who you truly do love, and you know, make that commitment to work through those things, or to not tolerate certain things that you may have tolerated in the past that were, you know, not good. So anyway, those are my biggest learns. And so looking back now on a decade of being here, I definitely am happy with how I've grown and what I've learned.
And as you said, I think at the end of the day, everything counts, you know what I mean? And when you look back, you are grateful as well for that to happen, because it built the person you are. And I'm sure you are in this beautiful relationship right now because some things, you know, you learn out from them as well. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's everything. It counts. That's what makes life interesting.
It does. It does.
Yeah.
Sure.
Right. Last question for you. Sorry, I will repeat that again. Last question for you is: tell me three fun facts about yourself.
3 fun facts about myself. Fun. First, I guess I love to dance and like to do all kinds of, you know, performance. I don't do it as much anymore now that I am kind of older, and also don't go out to clubs as much, but dancing is a fun fact, and people would probably know that anyway, but I love that. Another fun fact is that completely different is I love actually being in the middle of nowhere and as isolated as possible. You know, I'm fascinated with places that are far away that have little to no humans around. So, you know, some of my favorite places I've been that have been able to be like that was in remote places in New Zealand, remote places in Iceland, places I've had the fortune to go. But there's something very healing about, I think, feeling far away from everything. So hiking and outdoors is great. So that's another fun fact that offsets the club life. And another fun fact about me, oh, I'm a Lego maniac. I love Lego. Again, probably friends would know that I'm into them. Now, I unfortunately do not have a big collection of Lego these days, but at one point in my life I did. I used to love playing with Lego, like if I go back to my childhood and even my teenage years to a degree, if I could just play with Lego and listen to music, like I was, that was heaven. Even now, during lockdown, as an example, and Christmas, when it was really tough and no one was allowed to leave their houses in the UK during Christmas, my husband bought me this really huge Millennium Falcon Star Wars Lego set, and that entertained me for hours over the evenings of those dark, cold winter nights, just building that, and very therapeutic. But yeah, so Lego, I guess, is the answer. I actually, even also as a child, thought I was going to grow up to be an industrial designer for Lego. That's actually where I first learned what people who make toys, what they do. So yeah, Lego.
Very good, very good. Right,
Yeah.
so let's play now the word association game, okay? I'm going to give away some words and you just tell one word that comes to your mind. Quick
Yes.
thinking. Let's start with love.
Husband.
Family.
Care.
Money.
Necessary.
Sex.
Good.
Life.
Enjoyed.
Religion.
Indifference.
Politics.
Yeah. Not negative.
Fear.
Scared.
Friendship.
Essential.
Regret.
None.
Desire.
Passion.
Success.
Success. Growth.
Okay. Wish.
Hope.
Happiness.
Gratitude.
Right. And if I tell you one word for England.
One word for England. Oh wow. History is what I'd say.
And if I tell you USA, one word.
Roots.
Good one. Right. When I was checking your Instagram profile, there were four letters, like four words there, like sticking out. And I'm gonna repeat that for you. Would like to tell me one word when you think about that. Music.
Life.
Fitness.
Energy.
Design.
Focus.
And the last one now, shirtlessness.
Sexy.
Amazing. Right, let's pretend now I'm going to meet your lovely husband for a coffee, and I'm going to ask him what's the most beautiful thing about Remark and what he needs to improve on. What do you think he'll tell me?
The most interesting thing, did you say?
The most beautiful thing about you.
Beautiful. He would probably say that it's optimism and positivity. I really tend to try to focus on things that are positive, and I try to make a concerted effort to stay in a positive and optimistic state of mind. And also see the bright side of things. And as I mentioned earlier, have gratitude. So it's easy to understand why you should be optimistic or positive, because you can put it against things or situations that are much more challenging. I think he appreciates that a lot because, and I tend to be very even-keeled, I think, with those emotions. So I think that's what he would say.
Negative?
It's back probably to the inflexibility piece that I mentioned about myself earlier. I think he would like me to be more fluid with just decisions, vacations, dinner options, planning. I think he would just prefer to just go with the flow more. That's what he would probably tell me. Yeah.
Good one. Very good.
I'm going to ask him those questions. I'm going to ask him those questions and see what his answers are and see if they match up. Yeah.
Let him to watch the interview for him to go like, I wouldn't say that about you. I would say like, yes, you just spot on the phone on time. Exactly. Right, let's play now Remark in the Magic Box, and you can ask me a question, okay? And actually, before you ask me the last question, and if I tell you Pet Shop Boys, one word.
Oh, heaven.
Oh, good one. Good one. If I knew that you loved them so much, I would have played the music. Season 2, really the Magic Box Season 2, I'll be ready for you.
yeah, exactly.
You can ask me a question now, Remark.
Yes. Which friend are you most proud of and why?
That's a very easy and tough question at the same time as well.
Kind of like yours.
Right. The first friend that comes to your mind, I'm a very lucky person. I've got so many, my best friends, I don't call them best friends, I call them angels. I think they came into my life and I wouldn't be myself, I wouldn't be right now where I am right now if I didn't have them just around me. And I've got a very good friend of mine. I called my best friend, he lives in Canada, he's French. And you know that those friends they just know, just look at you, they know what's wrong, what's right, what happened the day before, what's gonna happen next. They can see your emotions through your eyes. You know, those friends, you cannot lie to them because they know it. Those friends as well, I remember when I met him 10 years ago in London, we used to live together, that's how our path crossed. And I remember, sorry, I remember sometimes I was texting him a message, I'm in Canary Wharf now, should I go, do you have any plan? And he said to me so many times, William, I literally had my phone in my hand, I was literally texting him back as well. Can you imagine? I could tell you so many moments in our lives since I've known him that you know what I mean? We had so many moments that we were thinking about the same thing as well. I was about to send him a message, he sent me at the same time as well. We saying exactly the same thing as well. And we are so different because he's straight, I'm gay. I remember being on holidays and I remember traveling around and he didn't like air conditioner and I love air conditioner. You know what I mean? There's so many things that we're so different. At the same time, as well, we match together. So and just saying that, 2 years ago he had a baby and he invited me to be the godfather. So I haven't seen him since then. I because of the word, you know, I went upside down like 1 year and a half. So so the first person who comes to my mind it's him. His name is Julian. He lives in Canada, and he's just amazing. Just I'm so grateful. But I've got like friends as well. You know, that's it's just like they meant to be. I've known them for all their lives. You know what I mean? Because the connection is so strong that I'm sure that it comes from a very long time already. Our paths has crossed like a long time ago because it's so strong, and I'm very grateful and always being very grateful for that because when sometimes you go like, I have the best friends ever. I can't say that. I know people say that, but I go like, no, I have the best friends. I have
the angels.
Yes. So that's my answer to you. That's my genuine answer to you.
Very good answer.
Remark, did you have a good time?
I did. Thank you so much. This has been great. Absolutely loved it. All the minutes, all the questions. Very, very good. Thanks so much.
You're so easy answering questions. I go through for the whole box with you for sure. Very easy, very easy. Thank you so much for the time. Thanks for being sweet and kind. But before you go, please, if you can share a positive message and a positive quote, please, if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely. Get out there and create, make something. I had a conversation with another one of my best friends recently, and we were talking about the word opus. And opus is a word that, basically means your best thing that you've ever created. And he asked me, he's like, what's your opus? And I was like, that's an awesome question. And then I'm like, what's your opus? Anyway, so for all the people watching, like, what is your opus? Go out there and create, make something great, create your opus. What is it? That's the question. That's what people should do.
And you just made my day now. I learned something new. I never know about this word, and I'm so grateful that you said that. Amazing.
Yeah, exactly. What's
All
your
the time
opus?
when I think about opals, I'm gonna remember you now.
Exactly, exactly.
Remark, it was a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Sounds
I'll
good.
be in touch. I'll be in touch with you. All the best. All regards for your husband as well. Keep in touch, okay? Enjoy your weekend.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Take care. Bye.
So, did you like the show? Don't forget to give a like, to share it, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to be part of the show as well, first, subscribe to our channel, and after that, just go to our website, www.williamandthemagicbox.com, and send us a request saying why you'd like to be part of the show. And I see you there. Bye bye, see you next time.